Well, over the past week, I guess it was, the Kirby contract discussion has heated up, and it looks like the two sides are closer than they've been in a long time to getting this thing done. Just a quick update from Georgia's athletic director, uh, Josh Brooks, who says that it's only sort of a matter of time before he and Kirby nailed this thing down. Jerry Moorhead, the president of the university, saying the same thing. As Josh said on, I think it was Thursday, no, Friday. He said it's going through the process, taking your time. Excuse me, it's just going through the process, taking your time. It's important contract stuff for him and for us. So it's all the little details. It's typical stuff, nothing out of the ordinary. We've worked closely with his agent, which is Jimmy Sexton, and it's been a great process. Um, Keep in mind, and Jerry Moorhead, the president of Georgia, said that he expects it to, quote, get finalized over the next few weeks. I thought it would probably be done by the board meeting, but that I just was guessing really on timing. I'm not suggesting one way or another that a delay of 2 weeks makes a difference in any way, because it does not. And when you look at the situation that Kirby's in, this will be his third. Essentially, this will be his third contract. He, of course, came to Georgia after the 15 season for $3.5 million, which is a little under what Mark Richt was making at the time. He was making $4 million a year. And then a season later, Georgia and Kirby agreed to what was it on average a $7 million a year contract. Each year was not $7 million. And of course, that contract is what the current one we're in. That number does not include bonuses for like the national championship. I think that's over $100,000 bonus, something like that. But now Kirby will be in the universe of Jimbo, Nick Saban, and Dabo Swinney. I think Dabo's is the lowest of that group, which is kind of curious in a way. That he's at $8.5 million a year. His buyout is insane, and Kirby's buyout would be insane too. I think Nick and Jimbo are closer to $10 million each, which I mean Jimbo Fisher's not worth $10 million, although he has gotten Texas A&M a lot of publicity. The only thing that will make him worth $10 million a year is to complete seasons that don't include four loss years in back-to-back years. I mean, he's not done that at Texas A&M. He's been at Texas A&M for a while. So, you know, my speculation here is that you're looking somewhere close to the $10 million range. It's possible you could give Kirby a 10-year deal. Um, if I were him, I'm not sure I would be super interested in that. But these contracts, unfortunately, only means fortunately or fortunately, it depends on who you're talking to and what situation you're talking about. These contracts almost never really mean anything. They're just guaranteed money for the coach. And if you were to pay Kirby Smart $100 million and you fired him after this coming season, he may well have still been worth $100 million to the university itself, just because of um, the amount of exposure the school has gotten in his time. Obviously, the national championship has brought a bunch of prestige to the school. But Josh Brooks and company shouldn't think about this any other way other than at some point Kirby Smart won't be the I was about to say quarterback. At some point Kirby Smart won't be the head coach at Georgia, and how much are you willing to pay for him not to be the head coach? It's balancing that with balancing his ask. That is where you should be for this contract negotiation. Georgia has done a great job through the years of not getting into insane situations as it relates to contracts. Georgia Tech has failed miserably on this front. Auburn has failed miserably on this front. Florida State, Tennessee, I can go on and on. If you are a school that does not have a very good coach, you probably have gotten into contract troubles. Um, but it can really wreck a school. And Tennessee is the best example of that. Um, they have single-handedly the football position at Tennessee has put them into financial handcuffs over the years. And $100 million contract or more, I mean, that would be almost double what Kirby's contract is now in terms of the total value of it, if that's what it becomes. That's a significant amount of leverage that he has over the institution. And I'm talking this way because I've seen long enough that fairy tales end. Um, that's not to suggest that what he's doing at Georgia is a fairy tale. He is not. He's doing the hard work. He is essentially Nick Saban in today's not modern football. But if you're the athletic department, you always have to be wary, cognizant, whatever you want to call it, that marriages fall apart. I mean, Mark Richt he could not have been more popular than he was after the 2007 season. I mean, and let's just say not the 2007, the 2005, he could not have possibly been more popular. Well, 10 years later, he was let go. 10 years after this contract, Kirby could be, it could be that he's fallen out of grace. But with Georgia fans, I mean, I don't know. It seems like, I mean, you should not be an absolutist in life. And there's no knowing what the future holds. But we do know what the most recent present held. And that was this moment from Kirby, right? I mean, this image is the culmination of decades worth of work and knowledge that he built up over time. And this was the moment that cinched it. Make sure you're picking up DAWGSTRUCTION. The link is down below. I appreciate everybody uh, checking that out. It's been a great success. I did not expect for it to be as successful as it's been, but we still got a long way to go with the book. Um, it is time for Kirby to get a contract where he is a top two coach in this industry. His value is more than Jimbo Fisher's at Texas A&M. It is also though for Kirby about the next, I would say, 10ish years, somewhere around. I don't know how old his youngest is. I think he's 18, 8, so he'd be 18 when this would expire if it's a 10-year deal. But a college coach having the number one thing out of this for Kirby would be that he can sleep at night knowing that if he continues to do what he's doing, he and his family, the financial part, Kirby's already a very wealthy person, but it's that he can be the football coach at his dream school in his dream location for the next 10 years. With that, just there's nothing left to be concerned about, talk about, whatever. I mean, Mary Beth can kick it, in this 10-year period and raise their kids with him. The children can go to the school that they go to. I'm not going to talk about that school because I think, anyway, just because safety, I guess. But they can do whatever they want to do and not have this one thing on their mind. We can't control health necessarily. We can't know when we're going to die. We can't know that one thing. But you can know, if you're Kirby, that you'd be the coach at Georgia for the next sort of decade or so. That's what this document would provide. It would also, though, some of us still live in the real world, and that document is a verbal promise. I mean, there is money behind it, but if Kirby wants to leave, he can leave. If Georgia wants to fire him, they can fire him. Both sides would be absolutely insane to lock into a real 10-year contract, if that's what it is, or a real 5-year contract, whatever you want to call it. He's the coach. People want him to be the coach. I think it's smart for him to be the coach. But what this is what it is, which is a promise. It's a binding contract, but those don't mean much of anything anymore.